What's happening, guys? Welcome to the LiQWYD Workshop. Happy May the 4th. If it is May the 4th when you're watching this. It might not be, since it is an on-demand thing. But anyway, so today's video is quite a special one. A couple of months ago, Whitey from Whiteys Wicked Workshop put out a challenge to fellow makers on YouTube and Instagram to try and make the frog-legged container from the Mandalorian. As soon as I saw his post and his video, it just got my imagination going, and trying to recreate this in my own style, I just couldn't wait. So that is what I've been doing for the last month and a bit, to be honest. Since it's a special video, this is going to be a two-parter, so you're watching part 1 just now, and part 2 will be at the end of the week. 2 videos in 1 week, amazing. So let's do this. So this is what I'm starting off with. I have I think it's a 4.5 litre plastic jar. See, it's quite big. It's not massive though, but it's the biggest jar I can find. I've got different bowls that I could use, an old Dyson filter, wee bits and pieces, like a hose lock. Wee heat sink that I've got a cup for something else. I've got this wee hinge cable or something. Now I'm not going for 100% accuracy with this. If I was doing that, I wouldn't be starting with this. I'd end up using something else. But it's got to be my own sort of interpretation of it. And some of the bits I'm going to have to make up myself, so I have to have loads of foam PVC board. There's some boxes I need to make up and add things to. Yeah, this is where I'm starting. Now what I'm going to do is do a wee sketch, just so I've got it drawn down, so I have an idea of what I'm actually doing with this. I feel it makes me be a wee bit more focused, and I can use that sketch to jot down dimensions and things that I need. So here's a wee sketch that I came up with. It's not the greatest, it is just a quick wee simple sketch, just so I have an idea of what I'm doing and know where I'm actually going with this. So I did look online, looked at loads of reference material of the container itself. There is loads of stuff out there. There's a few 3D models that people have done. And there's a pop vinyl figure that's came out. That includes the child and the actual container as well. It's a stylized version, but it all helps. So now that I have an idea what I'm doing with the container, I'm going to leave that for a wee moment, and I'm going to focus on the eggs. Now the eggs are going to be one of the more difficult things to actually figure out, but I did find some pink bouncy balls. Now looking at the reference material, the eggs are quite translucent with something in the middle. Originally I was just going to stick with these and have these floating around, but then I was inspired to push myself to do something a wee bit better. So what I'm going to do now is use these as the yolk of the egg. Then take some silicone and a mould and try and mould some silicone around these. So I'll use this. This is actually a cake pop mould. I'll try and get these guys in here somehow. I'll probably just use pins or something like that. Then pour silicone on top of this. It's a clear, transparent silicone. It'll be the first time I've actually tried using moulds to do things like this, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it turns out okay. I'm going to give this a try with one ball to start with. Don't know what that is. If it works out okay, I'll do some more. Wish me luck. Looking for this, I've got just these small bottles. I didn't want to buy a massive thing which is really expensive that I might not ever use again. But this should be enough for at least 3 or 4 balls. It's just a 1-to-1 ratio. I just mix these together in a little container, the same ratio, same measurements, then I'll pour them in. So I've got the bouncy ball placed almost in the middle of the mould, using a couple of pins. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. But, so as I said before, it is just a 1-to-1 ratio, so all I'm going to do is pour out 50ml of one and 50ml of the other, then mix them up. Now doing this does cause a bit of bubbling in the liquid. Fortunately, I don't have a vacuum chamber or anything to get rid of them, so the only thing I can do is try and do a high pour, and that's supposed to get rid of the bubbles. As I said, I have never done this before, so I'm just doing what I think is right. Okay, that's the silicone mixed up. What we're going to do first, before I close the mould, I'm going to pour some of it in the bottom first, then I'll pour the rest of it through the hole on top. Yeah, okay, let's do this, come on. So to make sure it completely stays together, because I'm not sure it will, I'm going to use some pins just to pin around the edge, because I'm not sure if the weight will just push this up or not. At least I've got these in, it should give it a wee chance to stay together. There we go. So now I just need to leave this for 12 hours for it to cure, and we'll see how it worked. First ever silicone pour, yay! So while the first silicone test egg is curing, I did a quick mock-up in paper of the bands and the straps and the control box. Got the measurements there, so I could cut everything out of the Fomex. Now I still need to make a wee box to go down here. This will probably be cut down, maybe like to here, and stuck on the side. Okay, it's next morning. Seems to have dried. Oh, this stuff has. So let's just take it apart and see what it's looking. That's not bad. A bit trimming. It does have some air bubbles in it, but I'm not too bothered about that. A wee bit trimming around the edges at the top. And there's an egg. So the first egg turned out pretty great, I think. Only thing was, because I used the pins to keep it, the bouncy ball in the middle of the mould, I left the pins in until it cured. When I pulled them out, there was holes in this. So I tried it again with the second one, and with this one I let the silicone cure for about an hour, then I pulled the pins out and there is no holes. But to fix this one, I actually just covered the holes with a wee bit more silicone when I was doing the second one. So now those two are done, I'm going to do another 4. Let's see how they turned out. Great. Some of them do have quite a few air bubbles in them, but I'm quite happy with that. It means they might actually float if they've got air bubbles in them. So in total, I had enough silicone to make 10 eggs, which I'm quite happy about. I thought I was only going to have enough to make 5 or 6. So with some of the eggs, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see it's a wee bit shiny. I actually added some more silicone on the top and let it drip down and cure, just to give it a wee bit of extra added texture, so they look a wee bit more realistic. Yeah. So I thought it was quite appropriate to put them in egg carton, just to keep them safe and clean while I work on the rest of the container. So back to the actual container itself. Now I did mock up the control box in Illustrator. I need to print that out so I could then start cutting that out. I made up a wee box for down the bottom. I need to cut this to fit on the side. And cut everything else out. I did find this wee wire tube conduit thing that I'm thinking might come out of the box down the bottom and go into this, because on the original prop there is some piping around there, but I can't really find anything small enough that will look good. Yeah. Now the first thing I'm going to do is deal with the lid. My plan is to cut this down to around here, but I need to cut out a bit of material, the Foamex stuff, for the bottom lip of the lid that this bit sits on. So I think that's going to be the first thing I do. Then once I've done that, I can start cutting all the bands out and sticking them on. Well, I don't think I'll stick them on yet. I might just wait until I've painted them to stick them on, but I'll start shaping them and make sure they're actually fitting okay. Then, yeah. In a wee bit I'm going to mock up the back as well, where the straps and things are, where it attaches to the frog lady, where she puts it on her back. But that's quite a simple thing to do, hopefully, he says. So I've cut a bit of the Foamex sheet that I've got, and I'm going to, as I said, use this as the bottom lip that this will sit on, and all I'm going to do is try and cut a circle. Now I did buy a circle cutter. Don't know if this will work. It should do, but we'll give it a try. If not, we'll just use a Dremel. Good old reliable Dremel. So I'll cut out the outer circle first, then I'll cut out the inner circle, and hopefully it works. So that was a good test try, but the blade kept going either in or out, which was unfortunate. I think because this is quite flexible and this is quite thick material. So I'm going to give it another try. There we go. looks great. Yeah. So on the base I needed to cut a hole for the battery pack for the LED lights, and the only place, it was the only place I could put it because of the size of the pack. I was planning on putting it in the control panel on the front. That's not big, that's too big, this is way too big. So the only other place was to put it in the bottom. This is going to be in the back anyway. This will be the back of it. You won't really see it very much, and I'll paint the pack so it matches. But yeah, that will just slide in here for easy access. Just like that. So this is where I'm going to stop part 1. To be continued later on in the week, so you don't need to wait too long. In the meantime, please remember to subscribe, like, and hit that notification button, and I'll see you next time on the Rebel Workshop.